Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the Bitcoin price chart, the altcoin market, XRP price chart. Of course, we'll take a peek over there at the stock market as it gets set to open in 4 minutes from right now. Look at the DXY, gold, any type of crypto news or financial news that seems relevant as we get ready for this trading day to start over there in the United States stock market and the liquidity kicks in for the day. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and we'll start taking a look over here at crypto and then just work our way on over. As you can see, we finally have some red over here in the crypto market after otherwise yesterday was almost kind of like a euphoric day. One of those days where I mentioned this in Markets in the Morning too. My wife, I was making breakfast. The price of XRP is like 71 cents or something like that. She's like, hey, do you know XRP is about 70 cents? I'm like, yeah. She goes, why don't you seem excited? I'm like, well, these are the times where things can happen. And well, sure enough, we have our correction day happening today after some serious action happening over the last few days in the market. So we'll take a peek at it. We'll talk about it. I don't think all is all lost there. And we'll take a look at all that and you'll understand. Looking at Bitcoin, though, sitting at $34,822 as we kick off this beautiful Tuesday morning. Still, the waddle and the drift sideways keeps on going there for Bitcoin. Not a whole lot to say there. Question still remains, will this thing break out as it did in 2020, or are we still drifting in here very similar to as we had back in 2016, where we built a new range and stayed in that one for 7 months, just like we did just recently? Hopefully not. Hopefully that is the case, that this thing keeps on marching. So far, so good. It's been behaving exactly like that. You guys know I haven't even attempted to try to guess what is happening with price action on a day-to-day basis or hour to hour, week to week in here. It's just been, hey, sideways drift of chaos. Slowly up drifting was what we were hoping for too. See higher lows and higher highs coming in there. And still to this day, we have seen that now going on little over 2 weeks. So a little over 2 weeks of drifting in there, still keeping on going. Looking over here at the total market cap, still that little drift right there through that high setback there in April of this year, still trying to drift through it. You can see over here at the preliminary support, still working through that area, but at the highest prices we've seen for the market or the total market cap dating back to June of 2022. So a year and a half still sitting up here. Chainlink, this is one I did take partial profits on today. You guys know this is one of those Wyckoff accumulation ones. This was spring down in here. I've talked about this area a lot. We've seen a lot of coins find resistances as they've gotten there. This one reached up and touched it this morning. I sold 25% of my Link position today. We'll keep an eye on that, see if it keeps going and if I let go of more of that or not. But this is one of the few that have finally made their way back up in here, back down to that support and back down to that level where we've seen things like Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, anything that's gotten like a big pump back up. This has been that resistance level. So I went ahead and took a little bit of safety precautions there, letting that cash position just sit there in case of a bigger pullback later. I can throw that back in at another time. The big thing, of course, everybody's looking at over here is after the chaos and crazy action over there on XRP, seeing a pullback finally over here after this big move up. So we'll spend quite a bit of time talking about this because I'm sure it is what a lot of people want to talk about. Yesterday, of course, I have to talk about things and maybe take note of this for yourself too, that I mentioned when I can see things on my back end, not like my rear end, but on the back end, I can see other data that is going on that isn't necessarily present on charts or measurable on social media. But like I could see when there's certain levels of engagement that are happening that I can see as a content creator and things that are happening when things are really stale and really low, how much traffic is happening in certain different places. If it gets really high traffic or really low traffic, that's usually indicative of price action and things that are occurring. And we got to actually kind of see that a little bit here in the Markets in the Morning stream yesterday, and to kind of take note of that when we see like a big, huge pull pour in of a bunch of people that we may be getting excessive. And, if you watch markets in the morning regularly, you know that the typical view counts anywhere from like 1,500 to 2,000. That's typically what we have every morning, and that remains consistent throughout the stream, usually hovering right around 2,000 as things kind of keep going. But yesterday, you noticed right out the gates, there was like 700 people sitting in the waiting room. There was 4,000 people in here yesterday, reaching kind of that moment of like extra excessiveness, right? Euphoria a little bit. And maybe take note of that for yourself. Like that's an extra thing that you can keep in the back of your head that not other people may recognize and say, hey, look, the last time we had like markets in the morning had like $4,000 in there. That was where things are, getting a little bit over the top and a little bit overheated, and people are getting a little bit euphoric. So I'll of course put that in my memory of the next time we have that happen. The same thing happened in here, right? When we had markets in the morning after we had the big liquidation, it was way more than normal, right? And why? Because excessive, massive liquidations in the market, major price action, tons of people pouring in, and that marked the bottom. That's the last time we had that. I bet we go back and look at it, probably try to pull that up later today, go look at it and see when we have massive amounts of viewership like that, that marks a pivotal moment of extreme emotions that end up happening. So we saw that yesterday too. And, of course, we're talking about retracement levels happening in there. With XRP, of course, we have reached the end of this range here to see if we can get ourselves a little bit of a breakout. So we're going to talk about a couple of different things in here and what breakouts of ranges that have had Wyckoff accumulations at their lows have looked like before. And we'll take a look at other stuff as well. So, this is where we're at. Obviously, you could look at retracement levels not quite making up to them just yet, getting through 50%, getting to just shy of 618, kind of getting to this level right here, right? So our first initial knockback from that peak from there when the SEC lost against Ripple and XRP was declared to be not a security, and then a retracement, and then back down to the support floor, and then bounce, almost kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then off into the crash, right? I'm looking over here, right? It's kind of similar action over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is our level where we find a little bit of resistance. And somebody was asking yesterday in markets in the morning, does it make you concerned? Like, when you talk about when prices are really moving, they move really fast. Does it make you a little bit concerned seeing them kind of just like this slow grind? Because if it's just slow grinding and it's just kind of going with the market, there's not a whole lot to it. And then I was kind of trying to bring up, well, when we're heading back into retracement levels, that's typically actually how the price action does behave. It does just kind of go into the grind back to the retracements. And then it's really once it kind of gets through them, that things kind of start getting euphoric. And so we can kind of look at this and just see how this accumulation schematic worked in here for XRP before it worked back up into retracements. So you could see it all stuck throughout here. And we'll just kind of like pick little levels in here and do the same thing. You could see once it started working on a sign of strength phase here up near the top of the range, right? Here we go. This is where we currently are. This is where we're working on like a sign of strength phase happening in here. Notice then it gets above the sign of strength and has like your double top, right? A little bit of a double bounce happening here in another range that occurs right here. Then you have the same thing occurring right here. And then the next phase is to shoot up. The next phase is to shoot up. And then that's where you see a bigger kind of knockback happen in here, right? So we kind of have a knockback happening as we've now gotten back up in here again to that peak of 4, right? So here we go. We get to that peak of 4, like we're just talking about, and seeing some resistance. So now the question is, can it go through the big breakout? And I think that's kind of where we're at right now. Now we're back at to really kind of the retracement levels. And now it's, can we not roll over, go back to retrace, roll over, and have another leg down, making the whole thing a big, massive ABC, or can we get our way through these retracement levels? Don't tell me I've lost it. Have it on here. There it is. Okay. One thing we've been watching over here has been the safety trade dominance, right? When you look at Bitcoin plus Ethereum plus USDT plus USDC, that there's been a big safety trade dominance play in here, which is completely unlike 2018. So we see lots of people reference to Bitcoin dominance alone, but during that time period of 2018 and 2019, you also had Ethereum fall from 27% dominance to 7% dominance. We had no stablecoin market. The stablecoin market represented 1% of the entire cryptocurrency market. So the only safe place to go was either to exit the markets, which most didn't do, or to go seek safety. And the only safety place to seek in 2018 and 2019 was to go into Bitcoin. unlike in 2022 and 2023, where you've been able to go over there to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT and USDC. And we've noticed that, the entire safety trade dominance run up, this has done a 702 retracement of the entire fall, just as the Bitcoin dominance did back in 2018 and 2019. And structurally, the same thing happening in here. And this little moment that we ended up having right in here, it's like, hey, finally, right? And I've left this little silly drawing that I've had on here. I've left it here for months on end. I think it's been here for at least 3 months. And that was finally, we expected it to pop up a little bit. And then finally, that was the little breakdown that ended up happening in there yesterday and the day prior. And then we started seeing some serious action in the altcoin market, right? But we could see that a little bit of support does come in here below there. And we could see support coming in now. And if you want to kind of look at like moving averages on the daily time frame of what happened with those daily moving averages, really all the same in here. How we kind of get close to it, waddle through them all, and then finally it goes and breaks down through them all. That's what we have happening in here. And then we break down through them all, right? Then things did stall underneath that support level for a little while until finally another leg ended up coming. Now, the thing that, of course, has me intrigued, and when we get there, we're going to be talking about it a lot. If you think that the market will go up in straight lines at all times, you are living in a fantasy. You haven't remembered anything that has happened in this market throughout the entire time you've been in it, or looked throughout history to see what has happened. But many, 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 many times, do we even look at the number? I mean, how many 50 to 70% corrections have I been through in this market? I would have to say it's been close to a dozen. 50 to 70% corrections that have happened in the market. One thing that happened in here, right? So that this was like one more leg of euphoria. A lot of people during the last phase that we were in here for Bitcoin, right in here saying, hey, we're going to have some kind of like C19 style sell-off. If you remember back then, I was saying, look, even if we are going to get something like that, the market does a pretty good job of pricing it in ahead of time. And we saw that happen with the altcoin market back in 2019 and 2020, that the market priced in C19 before it ended up happening, right? And then boom, it all falls apart, but still holds the lows. The market really held it all together. To be mindful of whether or not we are pricing in a stock market crash next. This is what happened with the market. And then in here is where C19 crash came in. So we had this initial fall, and I can go ahead and like throw on total 2 in here to kind of give you a little bit of a clue of how things happened in here, right? We end up having a big move in the market, which we've been seeing happening in here. We'll go ahead and add total 2, it's at total 3, because Ethereum has not been doing much. But we've been seeing a move happening over here in total 3, right? And we'll take total 2 off here. We'll make it equivalent. We'll add total 3. Right. So what do we see happening in here? Right. We see prices moving up. Right. We see prices moving up. There we go. Then there became another leg down in the dominance as well, with one more bigger leg up happening here in crypto, followed by C19. And so, it's obviously very critical, saying, hey, look, even if you expect that crash, that's just because of your fear. This market has a tendency to be able to price things in before they end up coming. So as we get here into this next phase, which is what this dominance would say, and I don't know if it is, but it's what the dominance is showing, and the price behavior of where it's happening at, right, is that, we would still have another leg of excitement to head down here in this safety trade dominance to pull down another leg in here, although it could stall. We could very well be stalled here, a month, very possible. And then another leg down ends up happening in here that gives one more excessive push in the market. And I'm not saying we're going to go all the way back down and retouch the lows again in the altcoin market again. But to be mindful that if you're going to track this thing, if you're going to watch this thing and say, well, what was happening in different phases of the market when this stuff was playing out, you could see it in here, right? Took out all the day, hovered above all the daily moving averages, broke through them, right? Hovered above all the daily moving averages, finally broke through all 3 of them at the same time. That's exactly what we just did. This is what we've tracked. This is how we've drawn it. This is how it's been like this for months. The next phase was a little bit of a pause here, which would make sense. Hey, are we starting to see some type of steam rollout and a correction to happen in here? Then another big leg up ended up happening there in the market, and after that came C19. It's a wild thing to predict there and say, hey, we're gonna have a C19 style event come and happen in there. But if we're going to look at this in any type of reference example, and it looks like a bunch of slop now that I have everything all over the screen. I think there we go. It's a little bit better because you can at least see the moving averages breaking down there. That when this happened, right? This phase in here is where C19 did come in here. So my thoughts are that I think we'll still have another leg up in the market, right? Just kind of like what we've seen over here in Chainlink. Chainlink's gotten back up into these areas too. But probably at that point, I do intend that I will build a cash position at that point, right? I've longed this market at the bottom, silly long from the bottom the whole time, and you guys know that. But anytime I make any type of bigger moves, selling or anything like that, I tell you, I'm even telling you I'm selling 25% of my link. I don't even think that's relevant or important that I need to tell you that, but I am telling you it. So that way you just know. But in the event that we get that next big leg down, it would be kind of like another euphoria phase. And that's what we'll kind of keep our eyes on in regards to euphoria again in the market. And it doesn't mean, even in this circumstance, it doesn't mean that the crypto market's going to crash down to zero at this point, or that a C19 liquidation event is going to happen at that point. Just to be mindful of it, right? So, play your cards how you want. If you think this is silly, that's completely fine. But it has played along so far. And sure enough, we expected that ride up. And then as we go breaking down, we see a lot of euphoria enter into the market right in there. What it does say now, though, is that, hey, things kind of pause out for a little bit of a pause in here before another leg down in the safety trade ends up happening. What does it mean when safety trade is going down? It means risk tolerance goes up. People are willing to get more risky, willing to degen, willing to be wild. And that would corroborate a continued, another move up over here in Bitcoin. And of course, taking total market cap, total to others, all that stuff with it. But after that point, things will get a little bit more blurry in the market once we kind of get back into those levels of retracements. And once we kind of get that dominance down in there a little bit, that things could kind of tamper out for a minute. We'll just kind of take it day by day at that time. But I will most likely, fully intending to, at least today, is the way I'm feeling, is that I think we'll stall here. There's not a whole lot of action that I'll probably be taking here right now. But then on the next leg down of euphoria and excitement, what I'm hoping is that we get very clear defined waves that show up, 5 very clear waves in the market, and then go ahead and lock in some of those gains and kind of wait for the market to correct, because the market always does. Has never not corrected. It always does. So we'll just take it as it comes. But I wanted to show you that too. So for those who've been watching markets in the morning, you're not part of the 4,000 that tuned in, but part of the 1,500 to 2,000 that regularly turn in. Hey, we got it, right? That's great. We got it. There's still another leg. There's still another leg to go, but just kind of be mindful. A pause here for some time, and I think that's just kind of what we saw yesterday. It's why 4,000 people tuned in, more than our regular 1,500 to 2,000. A little bit of euphoria and excitement hit the market. But hopefully this is a temporary pause over here for XRP, and another leg up resumes afterwards. But keep our eyes on it as the days come. We could pick so many levels to say where this pullback is going to go to. If I just started guessing on my thoughts, you'd just sit there and say, you've literally called every level. And that's why I just don't really want to do it. But I'll show it to you just to show you the level of confidence I have on where a pullback level could be. Of course, you have the Wyckoff accumulation range, right? You have your sign of strength range. We know it. We've seen it in all those Bitcoin corrections. Where does it pull back to? It pulls back to the top of the previous support range and then marches up, right? That's at about 55 cents. Do you see that happening here? No, not at all, right? Just a little bit of pullback from the retracement levels and then continues marching up. Other levels, like, what we were talking about for this past week, if this is Wyckoff, you went ahead and you presumed that to be Wyckoff rather than, and that the entire breakout that happened in here based on news was just a false pump, right? And that what we've been seeing is that the market would have continued like this based on what the total market cap of crypto is showing us and the altcoin market, that this was totally news related, right? Remove that. And what do we just have, right? We have all phases of Wyckoff that would be exiting right in here. Totally normal to backtest the top of that, right? Well, that only gets you down in there to about 61 to 62 cents. But again, even in this scenario, we don't even pull down that deep. So I don't have extreme confidence on how deep this will pull back in here. And that comes from the things that I've also said throughout the past, that in a ranges are chaotic by design. And good luck to anybody who's going to be able to literally guess the price action within a range. If you just treat this as a Wyckoff accumulation zone that this was exited from, you would be looking for a backtest of the top of the Wyckoff accumulation. Normal place to go. But you can even see in here that that is not the case of what happened in here if this thing was truly getting to go. And so if this thing really is getting to go, you don't get that, right? You don't get that pullback like that. And so I'm not certain which will be the case. So I'm just sitting back idly waiting by with my fingers crossed at this point for the rest of the market to give me a more clear sign. The sign I'm looking for currently right now is that, one, I see Bitcoin's okay, right? I see this, hey, look, Bitcoin looks fine to keep going along. It hasn't shown the signs yet that we're doing something like that, or that a new 7-month, sorry, I just hit the mic, that a new 7-month range has set in. So I don't see those signs, right? I still see this optimistic sign happening here. That's great. And then I look over here at this thing that we're talking about right now, and I say, well, that says there's another leg. So if we have another leg in there, why would I be sitting there worrying about that? So that's kind of what my thoughts are. Now, if this whole leg plays out down in here and we see that dominance shift down, and for some reason XRP just continues to get stuck under these retracement levels, right? And it's just still stuck there after the whole dominance moves down. Yeah, then I'll be like, dude, that's not good. Why didn't we catch any of the juice to go with it? Why did we just stall out entirely? Not a good thing. And it goes back to a lot of the stuff that we've just talked about on the massive big picture, right? Going back all throughout here, that do you have a contracting triangle on a much bigger time frame in here, right? In which you have in a contracting triangle is going to have a series of ABCs in every single way. ABC. And would that make this nothing more than the A, the B, and the C? And then what do we have? We would have an A, B back to retracement levels, then onto C, right? So if we get stalled out here, that's going to end up being the concern. And that's the problem with retracement levels. Everybody wants to say, will we break from the retracement levels? Will we? If you're not just worried at retracement levels, then you're just not doing your own charting. You're looking to be right, and you're looking to find a guru and a prophet. The problem is when we get back to the retracements. If we get through them, let's go. Showtime. Let's have a blast out in here. But while we're underneath them, there's just a constant worry underneath the retracement levels, which is why my wife asked, why don't you look super excited? And yesterday I kept saying, don't misconstrue my tone for not being excited. It's that when we see euphoria and we see prices move quick and we get back into these areas, this is typically where struggles start to happen. And this is typically where most people, all of their fear was down in here, and they sell lower to buy lower, and then they go buy the peaks. And then they watch the price turnover on them over and over again, and they are stuck in this same vicious loop that they can never escape of buying during FOMO and selling during fear. And there's tons of content out there to capitalize on your emotions, to sell you that fear content when you're fearful, to make you feel better, to make you feel like you're doing the right thing. And then there's a ton of FOMO content out there to make you feel like you're doing the right thing by FOMOing at that time. It's called confirmation bias seeking content. And that content is there, and it's very obvious on our end, on the back end data, so we can see what's being clicked on at what times and what kind of content to make at a time. And now's the time for FOMO content, and we're beyond the fear-mongering content to make you feel like you're going to 12K, right? That's why it's very hard for this channel to grow, because I'm not that fear-monger at the bottom. I'm the spicy jerk who's like, no, they're lying to you, right? They're just capitalizing on you. And then as we get up here, that there's a little bit more concern back to the retracement levels. But I will turn into that FOMO boy. Can we get through there? But that's just where we're at currently right now. Fortunately, you can see it. We're there, right? Time-wise, you've made it to the very end. Can we show it up? Can we do it? And we do have the dominance plays playing the way that they're supposed to. It does look like we are paused momentarily. At least that would be my expectation. And that must mean we are probably now in the big grand awaitment of Bitcoin, right? For Bitcoin to finally leave the range. And we might just be stuck now, waiting for that to eventually end up happening. Because that was a little bit of an excessive move right there, right? You can actually like count waves in here. If you kind of zoom out a little bit, you can, let me take everything off here. Goodbye. You could pretty clearly see those excessive 5 waves there at the end, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's usually going to mark the end of that move now that we see it in there. So now we kind of wait. And again, if you wanted to see like an example, all right, there's your accumulation range, right? There's your Wyckoff sign of strength. Step up to the next range, double tapping, right? And then off and away you go, off and away you go. And then came a big correction, and then came a big correction, and we stalled. So now we just see if we can hang out here for a few days, a week, whatnot, see if it can stabilize itself. And should it do so, we'll all be cheering and hooting and hollering that we can go ahead and get another level up after pausing out for a moment in here, right? So otherwise, it's just kind of a wait and see. Wait to see how this resolves itself here. Now it's back in the retracement levels. All right, looking over at the stock market. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 37 points, while the NASDAQ is up 40 points, and the S&P is down 4 points. So a mixed day in Wall Street, nothing huge. And we're, of course, seeing mixed over there in individual stocks. Amazon, ARK, and Roblox leading the way. Caterpillar, Ford, and Tesla, losers of the morning. DXY rebounding quite a bit over here, back to 105.72 as gold getting hammered at 1961. So there you go. There's gold back down below. So not quite able to get through that 786 retracement. Now back down, of course. Seeing gold chill out, optimistic sign for the stock market, right? A couple of weeks, 3 weeks of surging all the way back up. Now 2 weeks of pulling back down, or maybe a week and a half of pulling back down. So we'll still keep our eyes on this thing as that DXY gets a little bit of a shuffle up in here. I don't think there's a lot to read from that with the DXY. An example would be kind of like this. Like this thing turned over pretty quick after setting those lower lows and then just turned over on itself real quick. I'm not going to try to guess. The only thing that we know is that, or the only thing I know, is that we got back to the 50%. And we know that from, a month and a half ago. We watched it live when it happened. It was like, look, if there's any fib retracement levels that have ever had any type of reaction, this is the only one. We can go back through all of them. We can look at 618, 702, 786s. They've all been irrelevant when it came to the DXY. The only one that's had any type of reaction has been 50. 50 still holds. We'll see if this thing can continue drifting on down and then give the crypto market and the stock market a little bit of juice for several weeks or at least a couple of months. Otherwise, that's it. Bitcoin chilling, still continuing in that drift. Link finally did reach all the way back up there. I took a little profit on Link over there. You guys know this is one of the ones that I was way down here. I remember this time too, man. People are like, is it going to die? Man, I remember having a stop loss just barely below here. Wow, how things changed. I remember just having it just barely down in here. Like, oh my gosh, please don't hit it. And then there you go. All right, XRP, yeah. So back into retracement levels. Now we'll see if we can gain some more, if we can just kind of chill out for a little bit and then kind of work some strength back up to get through the retracements. The dominance did exactly as we had hoped for. It took out all the daily moving averages in here. This was a period of calming down for a minute until another leg came. And then, of course, as we get in there, as the excitement roars back into it, so should we so get it? That would be a moment where it's like, okay, look, now we've seen substantial price action happen here in the cryptocurrency market. We might kind of be ready for a real correction at this point. So at that point, I will start building a cash position, kind of preparing for that. I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time because this is what I always do. I'm always trying to think 2 steps ahead, right? If you're 1 step ahead, you look like a genius. If you're 2 steps ahead, you look like a buffoon. I'm always trying to be about 2 steps ahead of thoughts on the market. And so this move right in here would have been an initial kind of pump happening in the market, then followed by euphoria happening again later. So there's probably a lot of people who poured into this one who gave up on 12K, but maybe there's still a little caution in there. Any sign of a pullback is probably terrifying to people. For those who were completely caught offsides, there's nothing crazy happening with this price action, even just on the 4-hour time frame. Look at the moving averages. I mean, the 54-hour moving average has been support, and this is how carried away it's gotten from it. But any signs of pullbacks at this point for people who were caught offsides and then bought higher, they just don't have a lot of room in here right now. But should we get carried away one more time, that's where they probably all have absolutely no choice but to full-fledged go all in Pico by the top, because that's just the way markets work, man. Otherwise, XRP, we'll see if we can get out of there at some point. And, dominance is probably chilling out here for a couple of weeks, it looks like. Maybe, hopefully not too many. Hopefully just 2. And then on and away we go again. Stock market, nothing too interesting. NASDAQ is performing decent this morning, while the S&P and the Dow are just down slightly, 0.02% to the downside for the S&P and 0.07% for the Dow. I'd almost call that flat. Bigger moves to pay attention to have been gasoline has been down quite a bit. We've watched this a lot. I've had these lines on here for quite some time. Are we going to finally get the breakdown in gasoline? It's very close. Boy, that would be an inflation driver or a deflation driver if we finally get a big breakdown in gasoline in here. Of course, it was very interesting to see this happen here, because the moment that happened and we hit there, what happened? Israel war happened like the weekend we hit down here. This thing goes plowing down this week. Israel war. If you look over here at U.S. oil, absolutely crushed and hammered by the war zone level that we've talked about several times. This is back when Ukraine and Russia had issues back in the day. Then get over here to 2022. Russia invades Ukraine at that exact level, unable to sustain itself. Price goes back for the back test one more time. Big, massive monthly rejection. Of course, war attempts to break it out one more time. Complete and utter failure. Big monthly knockback happening in here for U.S. oil at the same time. So gasoline, keep your eyes peeled. I don't know about you. Gas stations near me, I'm seeing prices that I haven't seen in a very, very, very long time. And if the gasoline futures break down, which it sure looks like it wants to, get ready, man. Cheap gas coming your way, like real cheap. So that'll be great. All right, so there you go. Gold chilling, dollar back 105.6. We'll see if it's just a little blip here before things get shifted into its way down. Otherwise, we just continue to march sideways here for Bitcoin, as the altcoin market has just been rampaging all week long and looks to be taking a breather at this point. So dominances did exactly as we expected. All dailies broken structurally, and it followed our squiggly line that we've had there for several months. That's what we were looking for. We got it. The next move down would be more of a euphoric move. And for me, that's a place where I'll kind of start locking in some gains from buying and holding this market for the last year and a half during FTX, during everything, all the people screaming the sky was going to fall. Did not shake me. I'm not caught wrong-footed here. I've been riding it up the whole time, so it'll be time to lock in a little bit of that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into the news. WeWork files for bankruptcy. Okay, Uber reports third quarter results that miss analysts' expectations. WeWork goes bankrupt. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Nothing good, nothing crazy with news happening out there. CME futures open interest surge indicates interim Bitcoin price top. Okay, Kraken said to seek partner to help build it a layer 2 blockchain network. So as we know, Coinbase has done just that. So it sounds like Kraken wants to take part in the fun. Otherwise, and it's nothing crazy, right? Like we see some red here on the board today. You realize all of these were up more than yesterday, more than this yesterday. So they haven't really taken them all back yet. But it's been just an absolutely killer week, a crushing week. And it looks like our viewership is right back to getting closer to what it normally is. We're at about 2,600 today compared to our 4,000 of euphoria yesterday. Mark that right? Those are always little tips that I always like to share with you guys to pay attention to. And if you see that again, where we see 4,000 to 5,000 people pour into markets in the morning, for you regulars, you will have a little bit of an insight to say, hey, the last time this happened, that was euphoria. That was a peak. And so don't forget that. That's something that you have that nobody else, not your favorite chartist on Twitter, will have access to that, to recognize that. It's something extra that you have access to. And that's the kind of stuff that I pay attention to that you guys don't see, but I try to share with you when sentiment is like that on different stuff. And this right in here was all classic bottoming sentiment behavior on the back end that I could see. And so it was just fear. And fear does just that, it goes the wrong way. And so always remember, the market's always going to try to catch you wrong-footed. It's always going to try to catch the masses on the wrong side. It did it down here. And next time we have 4,000 to 5,000 people in markets in the morning, I'm probably going to say, welcome to markets in the morning. If it is your first time tuning in for a long time, you are marking the top. Everybody sell. All right. All right, yeah, of course, I forgot to do this stuff. Of course, today, if you're looking for something to do, you can check out bcbacker.com for over 40 videos and 11 hours of content from me. Do your own charting. Look at this stuff for yourself. Be able to do these types of things and understand what's happening in the markets and just have a better grasp of it. Right? You won't even need to watch me anymore. With over 40 videos of me and 11 hours of content in there. So a lot of videos going through there talking about the historical aspect of the market. And of course, I do have a newsletter out there that I've had out here for a little while. You could check it out, Decoding Altcoin Performance, a deep dive into developer data. So that's bi-monthly. I write that twice a month out there, and that one's been really popular, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. But all right, let's dive into the chat. Let's get it going today. That's 36 minutes of rambling. We'll see if we can keep today closer to an hour. Right out the gates, before the show even started, I saw you guys in there. Nicholas Lynn, thank you very much. You said, thanks for all your level-headed TA that you do. If you use the February and April of 2022 high for XRP, we wicked the 702 on the market cap chart. We broke through the 786 and back tested the 702. Ooh. What? Yeah, that's February of 2022. Yeah, it's so arbitrary though, right? I mean, maybe, right? Again, this is one of those things of like, if this didn't happen, right? So if we kind of said, hey, this didn't happen, right? We're actually just, working like this. You watched us get through the last retracement level in here and then bounce off the 702. Dude, fair argument, man. That's the complication of XRP with this whole thing, right? Because if I thought that this was normal price action, I'd say, sir, this is madness. But if we did assume this wasn't here, because this is all news driven, and you did assume that this was the case, we would have been like hooting and hollering, look, we got through the 702 of this most recent range yesterday, right? That's what we would have been saying. And hey, like we even got through the 786, and then today's pullback is what? It's right on the money, right? Right on the, look at that. Interesting observation. I don't know if we can like use that as like a strategy moving forward to say, hey, like we'll define it this way. But I think you found something interesting. I think fair enough. Cool. Michael J. Love, hit the freaking like button. It is free. Thank you very much, Michael J. Love, and he is correct. 2,500 people in here, 942 likes. Can we get to over 1,000 in under a minute? I appreciate it. It's the best way to support me, guys. Thank you. Joseph Lucido says, if exchanges are down, how do you take profit? Joseph also says, Uphold only lets you set TPs at like $2 right now. Yeah, I don't use Uphold as my regular exchange. The fees for Uphold are astronomical, and it's not like a regular exchange. They act like kind of like a middleman. So they're like taking your money and taking your crypto to an exchange to sell it. And then the exchange, of course, charges a commission, and then Uphold wants a middleman fee. So you don't need that, right? You can totally go to regular exchanges. Uphold is definitely not cheap. It is the most expensive exchange that there is. Maybe I Trust Capital, the IRA stuff. That one's pretty expensive. That's a 1% fee on each side of the trade. That's pretty bad. I'm not sure if Uphold's that high. They may be, maybe like 2% on Uphold. But you should only be paying like 0.25% of a fee on each side of the trade. And in some places, only like 0.1% or 0.15% on each side of the trade. Uphold is so expensive. But yeah, have multiple exchanges. And it's true. If exchanges are down, how are you going to do it? Right? You pretty much have to already have your money on the exchange. You have to already have the TPs set. You have to have the limit orders already set. And the exchange is going to have to go through them even if the exchange goes down, right? But of course, that's up for your discretion and your risk tolerance on what exchanges you're going to use and how much you're going to leave on there, because we see what happens with exchanges all the time. Even sometimes the exchanges that are perceived to be the most trustworthy, the ones that have their name written on Miami Heat stadiums, the ones that have their names printed all over the jerseys of umpires during Major League Baseball, even those ones can fall, like FTX, right? FTX Arena and FTX, one of the biggest sponsors of Major League Baseball in 2022, still went down. So it's up to you. But yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do if you don't already have your money on, you don't have your crypto on the exchange and don't have the limit orders already placed. And you got to pray that the limit orders will get hit, even with the exchange down. Dr. Ty says, a study shown if you hit the like button, XRP might moon. Hey, I want to see that exchange, that study. And I'll donate to that cause for further research. Meanwhile, we should probably treat it as true and just continue liking this video. We're at 1081. Thanks, guys. Mark Thomas, I've been following for years. Wonderful job, my friend. And if you're wondering how hard it is to like, if you're watching on a phone and you have your phone upright and you're seeing the chat go down the side, you just X out the chat, you hit the like button, and then you just hit back to live chat. And it takes 2 seconds of your time. That's all you got to do. It's really easy. If you want to practice it right now, I'll wait. There you go. That's it. That's all it should have taken. You should be back by now. All right, Pat with 10 BCB memberships. Thank you so much, Pat. I appreciate it, my brother. Ski Rich says, Steven Nirioff, a former advisor for Ethereum, says ETH is 1,000 times more fraudulent than FTX. ETH is most of my bag. Should I take these allocations serious? I don't think I'm going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to let you figure that out for yourself. I've had a hard time publicly making statements on the things that I see said. And if there aren't any flags that go off just a little bit that are weird, there should be. Something a little weird about the whole situation there. I'm gonna let you handle that one on your own. I appreciate the support, but I'm not gonna touch that one. Zachary Dick says, "Hey BCB, can you showcase some of the 702 collection NFTs maybe on Wednesdays or on days where they are relevant? You're rocking." I know. I just keep forgetting, man. We've been so boring in this market. I love playing them. They're my favorite. We worked like almost a whole year on those things, man. They're my favorite. I love them. It's just the market was boring for so long, and then it got so exciting that it just kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, I'd love to integrate those back into the show. They're cool memorabilia of the channel. Mark Thomas, I skipped over you, buddy. You had said, I've been following you for years. Wonderful job, my friend. God bless. What is your XRP price measurement before Bitcoin reaches the 702? I'm not sure what you're asking. I think wherever XRP is at when Bitcoin gets to 702 is the most dangerous price level it'll be. Whether it breaks out, whether it doesn't. When we get back there, if Bitcoin's back at its 702 retracement, and if we see that behavior where total 2 and total 3 are continuing a leg up, while Bitcoin doesn't set up a new leg, wherever the chips land for XRP is just where the chips land. The hope, of course, is that as Bitcoin goes into a retracement, XRP can go on a full run, right? If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I don't think there's any real other way to answer that. What is your XRP price measurement before Bitcoin reaches the 702? I'm not sure how to answer your question, brother. It's kind of like a timing question, kind of. I'm not sure. But thank you, though. Zachary Dix, I think I got you, man. All right. Dean says, compare Doge June of 2020 fractal to XRP. Both show similar PA price action to the SEC lawsuit rally we just saw. Any validity to this? Can you check it out in your free time? Thanks. Okay. I compared Doge with June of 2020 fractal to XRP. Both show similar price action to the SEC lawsuit rally we just saw. Any validity to this? Can you check it out in your free time? We'll pull up Doge. It's fine. I compared Doge. June of 2020. Maybe you mean July. I'm having a hard time following you, brother. How you're saying I'm comparing Doge with June of 2020, which is right here. The fractal to XRP. And both show similar price action to the SEC lawsuit rally we just saw. Okay, so you're saying, well, see, I wouldn't call this similar price action a straight line up. Right? I'm going to bet you $100. This is an Elon Musk tweet. Right? It's just straight line up. That's not similar price action, right? Is this similar price action to what we just saw in XRP? Yeah, but it's just straight line up. I don't consider that to be similar PA, right? Or similar price action with straight line up. Then this, of course, you get this breakdown and then, working back into retracements in here. If this is what you're kind of referring to, like we're kind of getting back into retracements, then what does it do? It pulls back down to the support level and then ends up going, maybe. The thing good going for the market, right? Like, just like we look at all the small stuff, like a lot, right? And trying to figure it out. But, you're wanting to look at a lot of the under stuff too, right? You got MACD curls, but really on XRP, you got a lot of the stuff you're looking for in here. Look at this monthly time frame MACD, right? That rocks, man. Like this is monthly stuff in here. This is good. This is what you want to see. That we've not only crossed, we're working on it. We got green bars printed in here. This is all great stuff. This is the kind of stuff you have in here, right? And then everybody panic because this thing's turning over. Same thing with Bitcoin, right? I saw a lot of people saying, hey, look at it. It's over. It's over. This crossed, but I pointed back to here. Look, this is what 2016 was like, right? Like we keep talking about being like, is this thing like 2016 still? Where are you? It was a lot of this stuff. It was a lot of that crossing back and forth stuff on the stochastic RSI, even up here at the peaks. And so with XRP, of course, right, we got, a cross, but now we're crossed back, right? So all is well. MACD looking fantastic in here. So these bigger time frame things all look good. Where we all get caught up in the day-to-day, right? I'm living in the moment. Yesterday, I was so high. I was just high as could be. And then now my highness is wearing off. Forget about all the highness I had here. It's all gone now. But you look at the monthly stuff, right? And it all looks good. It all looks good. So, all right. Oscar Hernandez, thank you so much. Oh, wait, other stuff happened in here. Julio says, what's your TP plan for XRP near and far out? I don't know. I think we've talked about that a million times. I'm waiting for all-time highs for XRP. It's a long-term hold for me. And those long-term indicators all look good to me. So there's no need for me to get too crazy with it. Plus, a lot of my XRPs, and you guys have to consult with your own tax advisors and your own financial advisors and all that good stuff. Some of you go in and out and in and out and in and out. You're creating long-term capital gains tax issues. Some of you are probably avoiding paying your taxes. I've been in crypto long enough to see it. Some of y'all don't do any of that. That's illegal. I do pay all my taxes. I report everything. I even pay an accountant to come over to my house. And we have the worst 2 days of the year every year where we go through every single little transaction I've done. And the most annoying thing about crypto transactions is she's so good about it that, you know, these things, whether it's Satoshis or whether it's a portion of an XRP, it's like, hey, there was 4.293723486 XRPs here for at a price of 52.1392648.7 cents. We've got to input that, man. And we do all of them. And, you know, I'm aware of short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains. I got a lot of stuff in long-term capital gains. You know, there's a huge difference in taxes on that stuff, on what the tax is on a short-term capital gain versus a long-term, right? Long-term capital gain is going to have its own specific tax brackets from like 10, 15, 20%. Whereas, you know, short-term capital gains, it's all going to be taxed at whatever your income bracket is. So like, you know, you're going to pay like 30%, 25% taxes, and, you know, whatever. It just depends on how much money you make. You're going to pay taxes on those short-term trades. So some stuff I don't play with. You know, I'm like, whenever I think this is going to be short-lived, I'll just ride it out. Or I'm not confident enough to say, you know, and I'm willing to risk it here to sacrifice that. But with XRP, there's no real moves for me. I think, you know, the thing that, you know, I'd consider it like a trade on XRP would be if we did get a big breakout in here, if this thing did go to like $2 or $3 or something like that, and then we did see this dominance shift come down in here, that might be a time where I take a trade, where I'm like, you know what, we'll go ahead and lock something in, and expecting a 60% correction or so, because that is what happens with XRP. Don't be fooled to even think for half a second 60% corrections don't happen. You could probably count them all in here, just in here, how many there are. But even going into bull runs, how many 60% corrections are. Even this one right here. See this big monster right here? And this one isn't going to be fair. This one's probably only going to register as like 40 or 50 on this screen. Still, it does hit 60 on the button. 60% correction, right? They just happen. 60%, 72%. If you think for half a second that this market can go up 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 1,000% and not do 70% corrections over again, the price chart tells you the story. It tells you they hum. They do happen. Do not think for 1 second this thing goes up in a straight line, and you know you're at peak euphoria whenever we see the super chat come in, and we're all going to cry a little bit together. Do you think we could just go up and stay flat here and plateau? No, never. We will always, always come tumbling back down. So, all right. Moving along. PTW just brought me a big old cup of coffee. Okay. What is your opinion on 11/19/23 and the ISO 20022 messaging start using crypto for settlement? Will it start a utility bull run? No. Been here long enough, seen that date always pushed back, that shilling of that narrative building of ISO 20022. Nope, I think it's a big, big, big nothing burger. Oscar Hernandez, my man. Thank you so much, sir. Big old super sticker, man. Thank you, sir. Exceed, man. Thank you, too. He says, hit the like button if you want BCB to teach us to day trade 10x leverage and get financial advice. Oh, God. One, this is not financial advice because I'm never going to tell you when to push the buy or the sell button, ever. So I don't know what the market's going to do. I'm just making my best guesses. 2, leverage trading. That is how you get wrecked. I was thinking about it today too, because we talk about it all the time in markets in the morning, and how I'm always like preaching, don't use leverage, and like it's one of those things from saving people, and they don't know it, that they're getting saved. But like, and it's one thing to lose 50% of your money or 60 or 70%, but you can always come back from that, right? You can always come back from a 60 or 70% crash. You can't come back from a wipeout to zero, man. You can't come back to zero from zero. It's all gone. Right? There's nothing left in the market. Leverage is I've seen it, man. I've witnessed people go into extreme depression with leverage. You get real high from it because you watch, why would I only do this when I can 10x leverage it and make it way more? But then when it goes the wrong way, it wipes out it all. All of it's gone. And so you get a little cocky is what ends up happening. I've witnessed, right? You get a couple victories underneath your belt, you get cocky, so you take a little bit more risk, and then lights out. And that's just like going into a casino. Exceed, thank you, my brother. Mac Azaic. Ripple Swell Conference is Wednesday and Thursday. Do you think there's a narrative for a Ripple IPO aligning with the next pump to the next episode? No, I think the Ripple IPO is just to get you guys to buy equity shares. And I think it's completely irrelevant. And Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple have been clear. They're not IPOing anytime soon. Even Jeremy Hogan posted that a couple of days ago, that Ripple is not IPOing anytime soon. You're being FOMO'd into doing it, so you buy equity shares. Oscar Hernandez. Okay. Thank you, Oscar Hernandez's doctor. Rick Close. Because been holding XRP since 2017, I bought for 17 cents and 22 cents. But what I want to ask is what your exchange is to help your viewers. Okay, let's see. BC Backer. I've been holding XRP since 2017, and I bought at 17 cents and at 22 cents. But I want to ask is of what your exchanges are to help your viewers. I think you're asking what exchanges to use to sell on or to buy on. It's a personal preference, man. So I one thing here, let's just address this and put this elephant out there. I don't have any sponsors on this channel. You guys know that. It's been that way for about a year and 3 months. And not saying it won't happen. I just think it would have to be like the right fit for me. A very clear one that's not a right fit for me that I'm not comfortable with is exchanges. Because even prior to the FTX collapse, I've seen them come and go. That's not unusual, man. I've seen it happen with exchanges before. Where the most popular thing fades. Bittrex, super popular, faded, right? Poloniex, super popular, faded. The United States customers can't access that anymore. Binance, you had access to it in the United States. Now you don't. Exchanges just come and go so often. So I don't, and so it's one of the, and I'm definitely not going to give you referral links to go sign up for leverage trading because you're just going to get wrecked. It's what happens to 99% of people. They get wrecked. It's like, oh, well, you have proper risk management. It won't happen. It doesn't matter. It's still going to happen to 99% of people. So I don't refer exchanges. I don't have affiliate links for exchanges. I don't have sponsorship with exchanges, and I don't promote or encourage or sign off and approve of any particular exchange in general. The only one that is the perceived the safest in the United States is Coinbase, right? I mean, they're even a publicly traded company. They have survived and weathered all storms. Even them, they get attacked by the SEC, right? So it's like nothing is perfect, right? So you have to figure out which ones are good for you, safe for you, you feel comfortable with. Just know that I don't have any list to give you that I'm like, this is the list of good ones. I don't have one for you. I have ones that I use, but I don't feel comfortable being like, this is the one you should use. There's lots of people out there who will. You know the list, right? What are the most popular ones in the United States, right? Just Google that and go with it. And you might not live in the United States, so it might be what's important, what's close to you. But again, people kind of ask that a lot with exchanges and what are you going to do if it goes down and how many exchanges you're going to use. That's a research question you should figure out for yourself and not ask a YouTuber on what you should do for your exchanges. You need to prepare your exchanges. You need to open up your channels of on and off ramps and find the stuff that you're comfortable with. It's kind of one of those things I don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole and be a part of. You know what I mean? It's just as safety. Sure. Have you tried... I'm going to slaughter this word, sure. Have you tried colloidal silver for your flus? It's microparticles of silver ions which kill bacteria. No, I have not. I've definitely heard about silver being used as a medical thing, which is why I also do like sometimes buying the 4/9 fine silver, which is what you do get with Canadian maple leafs. It's one of the few ones that I believe you get it also with silver Britannias that come in 4/9 fine, which I believe that is medical grade silver. I don't think you could shave off a piece and like eat it and get better, but it's at that medical grade rather than 3/9 fine. But no, I haven't tried any of that, but I've heard of it before. Thank you, Sheriff. Oscar Hernandez says, the 702 fib says to hit the like button. Yeah, it does, my bro. Thank you. So what is that? What is that one? It's Guexen says, do you think the market peak would be around 2025 in November? I'm going to guess why you chose that date. I'm just going to go out on a limb. Is it because it's 4 years after the last peak? Well, we all know that I fully rely on the 4-year cycle on everything that I say and do. No, I'm just kidding. First of all, that's when moon, that's when peak. It's stock market oriented, right? So you could see the peaks of the market happening, with stocks, especially with the tech sector. You can the 4-year cycle theory, right? Well, why is that not present from 2011 to 2013? I could go on and on and on. I'm not going to. I think it's a very easy content creation laziness to fall back on it and just say, we're just going to go peak in November or December of 2025 because it's 4 years after the last peak. When even in our data, we clearly see the peak of euphoria in this market all happened back here, right? Even the altcoins, most altcoins all peaked here, right? This is your peak of your market. So here's your peak in 2017. Here's your peak over here in 2021. Here's the stochastic falling off the cliff. Notice how the MACD, right? The curl comes over here and starts peeling down in here. Notice that we start curling and peeling down in here. And this all happens from where? April of 2021. Go look at Dogecoin. Go look at XRP. Go look at Litecoin. Go look at Monero. Go look at Bitcoin Cash. Go look at a bajillion different altcoins. And your peaks are back in here. You have a lot of them that peaked over here, but your vast, vast majority all peaked in April of 2021. For your cycle, where is your cycle? This is your cycle, right? Like people who waited for that one more little wick right there, congrats. Like that's nothing in any way like past markets. It's to not acknowledge that and not acknowledge the changes that happened here in the market and the odd behavior of here, that this cycle was 3 years and 4 months. That's the hard thing to swallow for a lot, that this is a 3 year and 4 month cycle from peak to peak. That I would not in any way, and that's just because it's consistent with me, is what I always say. I'll put nothing. I'll put no equity, no sweat equity or vested interest or thought energy into 4 year cycles. And why is that? And that's because why is the 4 year cycle theory even a thing? Block reward halvings, duh. But block reward halvings aren't even 4 years apart. And this stuff is all happening with the stock market. So no, I don't have a time prediction for you. But do I think it's going to be 4 years after November of 2021? No. I think it'll come much, much sooner than that. Crypto Pigeon, yo BCB, are you interested in Ripple Swell starting tomorrow? Tinfoil hat stuff if they announce IPO and we make a pump right as price is ready. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's sarcasm. I appreciate it, Crypto Pigeon. Thank you, brother. Lass Hansen. Long-time lurker here, almost 3 years. Love your videos, streams, and everything you do. Smash the like, guys. BCB is the man. Dude, Thank you very much. Just a nice comment and nice things to say. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Dilkansky with the coffee super sticker. Yeah, because I got a coffee here from PTW. Delodova says, I have no FOMO right now. Skull. This market is abusive. It is. Yeah. If you are, so like my emotions are, I don't know, man. It's just years of doing this. Yesterday was probably the most fear I have felt in some time. Just kind of like, we're all so happy. That's never good. It's never good. And the XRP community is kind of the most predictable one. When it gets really euphoric in the XRP community, that kind of marks the top. So let's not take a shot. That's just, if you aren't observing that, to start observing it when that euphoria kicks in, that tends to be what we end up seeing. So, but we'll see if we can kind of chill out here and just stall for a little while. Tino, what's your 5 to 10 year outlook and guess for the crypto market? Do you entertain the possibility of crypto recovering much faster than stocks in a recession? I don't know what the outlook looks like. I feel there's this big event we have to get through in markets. I feel there's this big, trying to find the stock market here. Right. I feel there's this big event, whether it happens from here now, or if there's the little 4.236 extension reach, and then it all happens. I feel there's this big event that has to happen. And, everybody wants to sit there. And that's the problem with 5 to 10 year outlooks in markets. Show me one 5 to 10 year outlook that was right. And why is it always wrong? Because it doesn't account for anything. You don't account for anything in any events that eventually happened. Did anybody who had a 5 to 10 year outlook in here get it right? No, because C19 happened, right? That changed everything, right? It changes supply dynamics. It changes inflation dynamics, money printing, everything, inequality, all that stuff. It all changes in the boom, snap of a finger. And to say that there will be no unpredictable events over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. I have said COVID before, so I'll say it, okay? I just try not to say it too often because like 3.5 years ago, you used to get dinged for saying it. So I don't say it. I've gotten pretty good at C19. But in my newsletter, I do enjoy saying it. Or if I'm in like a members only live stream, I'll say the word hard. Oh, a hard C. But the thing is that, is there going to be any unpredictable events? Is there going to be a surprise? Will the market be surprised with some event? And will that event be big, right? If there was some domestic attack or something like that, do you have that put into your 5 to 10 year plan of how the market would behave? And I think it's hard to sit, or, if there's a huge, massive inflation shock or something like that happens, or some mega superpower falls and everything changes, or if China cut off supply, manufacturing to the rest of the world or something. How do you have that in your plan, right? I think that's the hard thing. And why you kind of have to, I don't think you have to look at the world from a day-to-day perspective, but just kind of keeping an eye on it every few months and see how is it ever evolving. Because I think it is more like water than anything, that it's kind of, morphing and changing all the time. But, I don't know what the triggering event will be for a major pullback in the stock market. And so looking at crypto and, where it goes from there after some major cataclysmic action happens in the markets, I just have to see, right? I think, things that I'd want to see is if we get some big fall in the stock market, right? But if Total 2 and Total 3 and the total market cap and Bitcoin could all hold their lows as we did with C19, right? And we get some big plunge down in here. I don't think we're going to have a Great Depression like this, which people would love. I don't think that's what's in the cards, right? I could see it being more along the lines of this. And it just goes on for a long, 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 long time. And that's just the end of the superpower, right? It just kind of grinds on and goes on for 30, 40 years. I mean, that's what happened in the Great Depression, right? It goes down quick, but still we stay down for 20 years, right? 30 years. But I think, in the event I think there's going to be a liquidity event that happens in the stock market at some point, where a bigger move does eventually come, whether it's from here or if it's from a 4.236 extension. And to see how crypto holds up in that moment, because I think we will find years of stability after that. I think we're just waiting for that big, massive liquidity event to happen. And then there'll be a couple years of kind of calming down for a minute. Maybe the Fed does step in. They throw the kitchen sink at it, but the kitchen sink just isn't quite enough on the long enough term horizon where they're having to battle inflation, but also make sure there isn't unemployment all at the same time. And they just can't quite do enough that the market has to roll over, and then it continues and continues. And they never end up going silly like they did during this whole time period, but just kind of like gradually interjecting into markets to keep it stable rather than crumble, crumble, crumble. But yeah, I don't know. This is this has been a lot. Like the average viewer age probably of my channel is probably about 38. This has been the history of most of your adult life for most people, right? The average person. If you're under 30, you don't know anything except that, right? If you're over 50, you know a lot more than that. If you're 25 and if you're 25 to 30, you know nothing but to be bull. It's the only thing you know how to do. You didn't go through the great financial crisis. You didn't go through any of that stuff, and you don't have those memories of what that was like. That was early in my adulthood when that did happen. And I did have to go struggle through that stuff, owning a house and barely getting by, scared I wasn't going to make it for years, watching your neighbors disappear, all that stuff. 25 to 30-year-olds right now have literally no idea what that is. None. I just don't think we can sit here with a 5 to 10 year horizon, knowing this is our last 5 to 10 years, and say that the next 5 to 10 years will be a repeat of this. I think there's going to be a dynamic change in the markets, and we'll see how crypto can respond in an event of a massive liquidity event happening in the stock market at some point. If the stock market kind of rallies like this into heights, I think we're going to have some cool times in crypto for a minute, and then it'll get nasty really fast. Or if, we can pull down here and crypto is able, in total 2, total 3s, all of it'll hold those support levels of, going through a big bear, and like maybe we're just starting all over again. But I think we have this big event to eventually get through at some point. And I just want to see how crypto responds during that big event when it eventually comes. And I don't know when that will be. But that's what I'm awaiting for a 5 to 10 year outlook. But thank you, Tino. Rick Close says, thanks for your answer about exchanges. Been here. No problem. Rick, I also gave you no answer, but I appreciate that you appreciate that I had to give no answer. Sheriff says, how long do you think it'll take for XRP to get from 70 cents to $10? Will it be a short-lived bull run? Also, how is XRP versus total market cap MA breakout? I haven't checked on those in a little while. What do we do? Total 2 over XRP USD. Look at that. Hey. Cool. So XRP is beating out the altcoin market. There we go. It failed against the 200-week moving average against total 3 as well. How's total? I know total was doing a little bit better because of Bitcoin and Ethereum, but maybe it's pulled it back now. Yeah, now it's pulled it back now. What about others, right? Others. There you go. It did it. It's done well. XRP looks to be the winner. The El Winero. I teach Spanish as my second YouTube channel, and that course is $49. Okay. How long do I think it'll get from 70 cents to 10? I have no clue, man. I have no clue. So, there we go, guys. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, XRP beating the whole market. So, Otherwise, we're in, obviously we're having correction day today, pullback day today after rocking. Evan says time to hit the gym. I already hit the gym today. I might hit it a second time today. Dude, this time change rocks. For the last 6 months, ever since the time changed back, where we skipped forward, I stopped going at 5 a.m. I started going at lunchtime. I've been able to go at 5 a.m. the last couple of days. It's been kind of nice. So, all right, there we go, guys. If you're looking for something to do today, of course, check out bcbacker.com for 40 videos and 11 hours of content from me. And of course, if you want to learn about developer data and how that has influenced prices compared to the top 20 by market cap, which was the better choice in 2021, and well, to take a look at who is the top coins by developer activity right now, you can check out blockchainbacker.substack.com. There are links to both the newsletter and over here to bcbacker.com in the description of this live stream. It has been a long time since I have shilled you the merch. PTW played a big role in helping put this stuff together. So there you go. You got a bunch of 702 crew stuff. If your baby needs a frog, you have stuff for your baby with the Blockchain Backer logo on it. Of course, there's adult stuff in here. There's kids' clothes in here, coffee mugs, get your coffee on, tumblers, XRP gear all throughout here. Let's see what else is in here. XRP. These are kind of cool for the ladies. They're kind of like cut off sweaters. Shows a little bit of belly. It's pretty neato. I like that. And, you got baby clothes in there. XRP mugs, tumblers. Let's see. Sweaters. If you like sweaters. I've ordered a lot of the stuff. I have a lot of it. I like the way the t-shirts fit. If you're a man. Again, I'm not a ridiculously athletic build, but I am athletic, and it does fit right. I like that. There's not many shirts that have that good kind of athletic fit. The large male shirt did fit right. I like that one. I wore it yesterday. So I'll put a link to this. Of course, there's a link to this in the description as well, but I just posted that right there in the chat. Otherwise, check out the newsletter. Check out bcbacker.com. And then JJ Jacob says, how can the total 2 and other shirts react so precise on fibs and to certain price levels, holding all-time high, especially others? It's like over 100 coins. It's more than 100. It's like everything. Yeah. The magical unicorn fairy dust with the puppet masters pulling the puppet strings, God or simulation, JJ Jacob. It's one of the mysteries of the world. I don't know the answer to, my man. Otherwise, guys, I'm wrapping it up. We've crossed an hour and 16 minutes. I hope that you all are having a wonderful day. We got pullback day over here in crypto after just a rampaging couple of weeks. We'll see how things settle, and I'll check in with you guys again soon. That's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Sherv says, so that means XRP is going against the market when it rises. It means it's outperforming the market. Whether the market's going up or down, it just means XRP is outperforming it. Oscar Hernandez gifted a blockchain backer membership. And again, the blockchain backers got your back. Catch me outside. Thank you. Have a good one.